She pulls the bottle from the refrigerator the same way she does every morning. The deep red glass, the health food store label she trusts, the routine she started 8 months ago after reading about nitric oxide and blood pressure. She pours a full glass, drinks it quickly before breakfast, and feels quietly proud of herself. She does not know that 2 of her habits around that glass are quietly canceling out the very benefit she is drinking it for. Her cardiologist has never mentioned it. There has not been time. Beet juice has earned its reputation in cardiovascular research, and that reputation is legitimate. The nitrate content of beetroot is real. The conversion pathway to nitric oxide is well documented, and the evidence supporting its role in blood pressure modulation and vascular function in older adults is substantial. But what the wellness articles and supplement packaging almost never explain is that the benefit is not automatic. It depends on a specific biological chain that can be interrupted, completely, silently, by several common habits that have nothing to do with how much beet juice you drink or how committed you are to drinking it. For adults over 60, understanding exactly how that chain works and what breaks it is the difference between a meaningful cardiovascular tool and an expensive daily ritual that is doing very little. My name is Dr. Evan Noris. I am a cardiologist with 22 years of clinical experience, with a specific focus on non-pharmacological cardiovascular interventions and vascular health in adults over 60. What motivated this particular video is watching patients faithfully adopt beet juice as part of a heart-healthy routine and receive far less benefit than the research would predict, because no one explained the conditions under which it actually works. Here is the biology, and I want to walk through it clearly, because it is the foundation of everything else I am going to say. Beet juice is high in inorganic nitrate. On its own, nitrate does not do very much in the body. The benefit begins when oral bacteria on the surface of the tongue and in the saliva convert that nitrate into nitrite. The nitrite is then swallowed, absorbed into the bloodstream, and converted by the body, particularly in low-oxygen environments like active muscle tissue and arterial walls, into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the molecule that matters. It signals the smooth muscle and blood vessel walls to relax, which widens the vessels, lowers resistance, and reduces blood pressure. Think of it like opening a partially kinked garden hose. When the walls relax, the flow increases, and the pressure behind it drops. After 60, nitric oxide production declines naturally as part of vascular aging, which is precisely why dietary nitrate from sources like beet juice has attracted so much attention as a practical way to support what the body is producing less of on its own. But the conversion chain, nitrate to nitrite to nitric oxide, has several points where it can fail silently. Each of those failure points is a habit most seniors have never been asked to examine. Before I walk through them, I want to ask you something. Are you currently drinking beet juice or taking beetroot supplements as part of your health routine? Just type yes or no in the comments. I want to know how many people watching this are already doing this and may not be getting the full benefit. The first and most significant way seniors undermine their beet juice benefit is by using antibacterial mouthwash immediately before or after drinking it. This one surprises almost everyone, and I understand why. Mouthwash feels like a health-positive habit, part of a conscientious oral care routine. But the bacteria that mouthwash is designed to eliminate include the specific oral bacteria responsible for converting dietary nitrate into nitrite, the first and most critical step in the entire conversion chain. Research published in the journal Free Radical Biology and Medicine confirmed that use of antibacterial mouthwash eliminates oral nitrate-reducing bacteria and blocks the nitric oxide production pathway following dietary nitrate intake. In one study, subjects who used antibacterial mouthwash showed no meaningful blood pressure reduction after dietary nitrate consumption, while those who did not showed the expected reduction. This is not a small effect. It is a near-complete cancellation of the benefit. There is a closely related mistake I want to flag here as well, because it undoes the same conversion for the same reason. Immediately spitting, rinsing your mouth aggressively with water, or drinking a large glass of water right after beet juice to wash away the color or the taste. The conversion from nitrate to nitrite begins in the mouth, in contact with your saliva and oral bacteria, and it continues for several minutes after you swallow. When you flush the mouth immediately afterward, you wash away the active bacteria and saliva that are still working. Wait at least 10 to 15 minutes before rinsing or drinking anything significant. The red color is not the chemistry, and washing it away takes the benefit with it. A woman named Harriet, a former dental hygienist who had spent 40 years teaching patients the value of meticulous oral care, came to see me after 8 months of consistent beet juice consumption, with no measurable change in her morning blood pressure readings. She was doing everything correctly, by every standard she had ever applied professionally, brushing twice daily, flossing, rinsing with an antibacterial mouthwash morning and night, and following up the juice with a glass of water out of habit. When I explained what both the mouthwash and the immediate rinse were doing to the nitrate conversion pathway, she was quiet for a moment, and then said that made complete sense from a microbiome standpoint. She switched to a non-antibacterial fluoride rinse, used at a separate time of day, stopped rinsing after the juice, and let the saliva work. Her morning readings shifted within 6 weeks. The practical fix: no antibacterial mouthwash within 2 hours of beet juice, and no rinsing or large fluid intake for at least 10 to 15 minutes after drinking it. Your saliva is not a side effect of the process. It is the process. The second mistake is drinking beet juice at the wrong time, relative to when the cardiovascular benefit is actually needed. The nitric oxide produced from dietary nitrate peaks in the bloodstream roughly 2 to 3 hours after consumption, and begins to decline after 4 to 6 hours. For most people over 60, the period of highest cardiovascular demand and highest blood pressure is the morning, from roughly 6 to 10, when the natural morning surge in cortisol and adrenaline pushes pressure toward its daily peak. Drinking beet juice in the evening means the nitric oxide peak arrives while the cardiovascular system is already in its lower demand state. A man named Jeffrey, a former meteorologist, who had spent his career thinking carefully about the timing of systems and their effects, came to see me genuinely puzzled. He had been drinking beet juice every evening with dinner for 6 months. His evening readings were good. They had always been good. His morning readings had not changed. When we shifted his beet juice to 30 to 45 minutes before breakfast, aligning the nitric oxide peak with his morning surge window, his readings improved meaningfully within a month. The practical fix: drink beet juice approximately 30 to 60 minutes before the period of highest cardiovascular demand. For most people, first thing in the morning on an empty or nearly empty stomach. Discuss with your doctor what your individual blood pressure pattern looks like across the day, because timing should match your specific peak. The third mistake involves quantity, specifically the tendency to use a very small daily amount, assuming any amount is adequate. The nitrate content of commercially prepared beet juices varies considerably by brand and method. Some products are diluted, heat-treated in ways that reduce nitrate, or blended with other juices that add volume without meaningful nitrate. Research from the University of Exeter and other groups studying dietary nitrate has used doses typically in the range of 300 to 500 milligrams of inorganic nitrate, generally corresponding to roughly 250 to 500 milliliters of concentrated beetroot juice. A small splash in a smoothie, or a few ounces of a diluted blend, may deliver a fraction of the dose required for a measurable vascular effect. A woman named Margot, a former textile artist, had been adding 2 tablespoons of beet juice to her morning smoothie every day for almost a year. The product she had chosen was a beet and apple blend, with beet juice listed third on the ingredients, far below any therapeutically studied dose. Switching to a concentrated pure beetroot juice at an appropriate volume finally matched her intention. The practical fix: check the nitrate content on any product you use, choose a concentrated, unflavored pure beetroot juice, and discuss the appropriate volume with your doctor given your blood pressure goals. If you are still with me and finding this useful, type the word beets in the comments right now. It tells me who is staying through the full conversation, and those are exactly the people I am most glad to reach. The fourth mistake is combining beet juice with antacids or acid-reducing medications taken around the same time. The conversion of nitrite to nitric oxide is pH-dependent. An acidic stomach environment supports it. Proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole or lansoprazole and over-the-counter antacids like calcium carbonate raise stomach pH and reduce the acidity that facilitates that final conversion step. A man named Alistair, a former harbor master who ran his household like a port, logical, scheduled, non-negotiable, came to see me after a full year of beet juice with no change in his cardiovascular markers. He took omeprazole at 6 in the morning and beet juice at 6:30, every single day, placing the two in direct biochemical opposition. Separating them by 2 hours and reviewing the PPI timing with his prescribing physician made a meaningful difference in his response. The practical fix. If you take a proton pump inhibitor or antacid regularly, discuss the timing of your beet juice with your doctor or pharmacist so the two are not working against each other. The fifth mistake involves what you eat alongside the juice. Drinking beet juice with a high-fat meal or with dairy significantly slows gastric emptying and delays nitrate absorption into the bloodstream. When that happens, the nitrate spends more time in the stomach and less time in the intestine, where absorption is most efficient, blunting and shifting the nitric oxide peak. After 60, gastric motility is already naturally slower, making this compounding effect proportionally more significant. A woman named Rosario, a former ceramic sculptor, had been drinking her beet juice every morning with a full breakfast of eggs, cheese, and buttered toast because she had read that supplements absorb better with food, advice that applies to fat-soluble vitamins, not to water-soluble nitrates. Shifting the juice to 30 minutes before breakfast allowed absorption before the fat load arrived, and her vascular response measurably improved. The practical fix. Drink beet juice on an empty or nearly empty stomach, at least 20 to 30 minutes before a fat-containing meal. If your stomach is sensitive, a small piece of plain fruit is a better companion than a full breakfast. Here is what I want you to take away from today. If you are drinking beet juice for your cardiovascular health, the commitment is the right one, but the benefit is conditional. It depends on preserving the oral bacteria that start the conversion. No antibacterial mouthwash near the juice, and no rinsing for at least 10 to 15 minutes after. It depends on timing the juice to your morning pressure peak. It depends on using a concentrated, high-nitrate product at an adequate dose. It depends on spacing it away from acid-reducing medications. And it depends on drinking it before a fat-heavy meal, not during or after. None of these are complicated. Each is a small calibration to a routine you have already built. Before I close, one safety note that applies to a meaningful number of people watching. Beetroot juice is naturally high in potassium. For most people with healthy kidney function, that potassium is part of what makes beet juice beneficial for arterial health. But if you have been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease or any kidney impairment, that same concentration becomes a serious consideration. Compromised kidneys cannot clear excess potassium efficiently, and elevated potassium in the blood can cause dangerous heart rhythm disturbances. If you have CKD or known kidney issues, please consult your nephrologist or primary care physician before making beet juice a daily habit. This is not a reason to avoid it broadly. It is a reason to have that specific conversation first. Everything I have shared today is meant to open a conversation with your physician, not to serve as a standalone medical plan. Your blood pressure profile, your medications, your kidney function, and your individual cardiovascular picture all determine how these principles apply to you. Please bring this to your doctor. They will be glad to work through it with you. And if optimizing what you eat and drink for cardiovascular benefit has you curious about what else in your morning routine might be working harder for your heart than you realize, the next topic I want to explore with you is the connection between sleep quality and blood pressure, and why what happens in your bedroom at night may matter more than anything you take in the morning.